The small cleaning station near the asteroid base was quiet, almost too quiet. Outside the airlock, engines from passing cargo ships hummed in the distance, but inside, the human technician named Cade worked alone. He didn't like silence. Silence meant something was coming. And on this strange day, something had. Cade was just finishing the last oil wash on a broken-down android when he heard the buzz at the outer gate. Not many visited this outpost anymore, not after the war. That war had left scars and space scars that didn't heal easily. But what walked through the gate next was not a soldier or scavenger. It was a woman. Not just any woman, an alien. She wore a long black coat made of some smooth, wet-looking fabric. Her skin was pale violet, her eyes glowing softly like cold fire. She walked like someone used to commanding silence and fear. But what made Cade stop mid-breath wasn't her. It was the thing following her. It wasn't walking. It was crawling. The creature beside her had too many legs to count at first glance. Its fur shimmered green-blue under the overhead lights. Its claws scraped against the metal floor with a sound like glass breaking slowly. And its eyes, 6 of them, stared at Cade with something worse than hunger. They stared with curiosity. "I need it cleaned," the alien woman said flatly. Cade blinked. "Cleaned?" She nodded. "Bathed." Cade looked down at the thing. It looked like a cross between a tiger, a spider, and a nightmare. "Is it safe?" She tilted her head. "Not really. But it trusts me, for now. Why not clean it yourself?" "I've tried," she said, her voice low. "It won't let me touch it now. It was wounded in the last border attack. Blood and sand hardened under its scales. I think it remembers." "Pain." Cade hesitated, looking into those unblinking alien eyes again. "And it'll let me touch it?" The woman smiled, small and tired. "You're human. It doesn't know you. That might help. Or it might eat me," Cade muttered under his breath, but he agreed. He needed the credits. And there was something else, something in her eyes that told him she was desperate, even if she didn't show it. He led the creature slowly into the back room. The wash bay was old but functional. Cade turned on the warm mist first, hoping the steam would calm it. The alien pet watched every move. It didn't growl or hiss. It just stared. He reached for the soap foam and paused. "You got a name for this beast?" "Yes," the woman answered from the doorway. "It's called Threx, but don't say its name while touching it. It doesn't like that." "Got it," Cade muttered. He sprayed the foam gently over its shell, starting from the back. At first, Threx didn't move. Then its legs tensed, and it let out a sound like a low rumble from the depths of a cave. Cade froze. The rumble didn't stop. "It's just soap," he said, voice calm. Nothing more. The creature turned its head slightly toward him. Cade could see now that one of its eyes was cloudy, damaged. Maybe in battle. He kept going, moving slowly, carefully scrubbing the hardened dirt between its upper shoulder joints. Then something strange happened. The creature relaxed. Its claws sank slightly into the metal floor, but its breathing slowed. Its shoulders dropped. For the first time, it wasn't watching Cade, it was letting him work. But not for long. When Cade reached the stomach area, his cloth touched a red scar. The creature twitched. Its legs jerked. Cade dropped the cloth and stepped back fast. Too late. Threx let out a piercing shriek. Not loud, but sharp enough to cut through the mind like ice water. Its front legs reared, slamming into the wall. Cade ducked. The creature's claws missed him by inches. Outside, the alien woman ran in. Stop, but Threx wasn't stopping. Not now. It leaped at Cade, jaws open. Cade rolled under the cleaning table, heart racing. The creature smashed against the metal edge, shaking the whole room. "Threx!" the woman shouted, voice firm. He's not your enemy. But the beast didn't hear her. Or maybe it didn't care anymore. Cade reached the emergency lever behind the panel and yanked it. The room flooded with freezing mist. A safety lock engaged. The beast froze, startled by the sudden cold. The woman threw herself between the creature. And Cade, holding out her arms, her coat flared. The beast stopped. Panting, shaking, it looked at her. Then slowly crouched beside her feet. Cade came out from under the table. "What was that? I thought you said it would be calm." "I said it might trust you," she said quietly, "but I forgot one thing." "What?" She looked down at the scar. "It remembers war. And it thinks humans started it." Asterisk. The cleaning. Room still smelled like cold mist and burned metal. Cade wiped blood from his cheek, just a scrape, and stared at the beast sitting beside the alien woman like a loyal guard. Its eyes were calm now, but that calm didn't feel safe. It felt like the quiet before a storm. "I'm not doing that again," Cade said, stepping back slowly. "That thing almost tore me apart." The woman didn't argue. She touched Threx's back gently, where the scar still glowed faintly red. "You touched the wound. That's what triggered the rage." "I didn't know it was still open." She looked at Cade with a tired expression. "That's because it never healed, right? We thought it would, but its biology is ... different. What even is it?" Cade asked. "I've never seen anything like it, not even in old war logs." She took a long breath. "Threx is a Guardian-class predator, bred by the Ziari Dominion to protect high-value targets. Genetically enhanced. Made to never forget pain." Cade frowned. "The Ziari? I thought they went extinct." "Almost, but Threx was left behind. After the last planetary collapse, I found it. Or maybe it found me." Cade looked at her again, seeing her differently now. She didn't just look like a traveler. There was something in the way she moved, the way she watched everything sharp. Alert, secretive. "You're not just someone passing by, are you?" he asked. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached into her coat and pulled out a small silver cube. It glowed faintly in her hand. "This holds old Dominion data," she said softly. "Threx was part of it. And now someone wants it back." Cade's heart sank. "Wait, so people are looking for this thing, and you brought it here?" "They're not people," she said. "They're machines, drones, ex-war tech. They don't knock on doors." Cade cursed under his breath. "How long do we have?" She looked up toward the ceiling. "Not long. I jammed their signal, but that won't last. They'll track the biosignature soon. You should have gone to a military outpost." "I tried. They refused me." Cade ran a hand through his hair. "And you thought a lonely cleaning station was a better choice?" "It's not about the place," she said. "It's about the person. I needed someone not involved in the war. Someone without a record." He stared at her. "Why me?" "Because your record is clean, and because Threx let you touch it. Even if only for a minute."
Threx let out a low growl, but it wasn't angry.
It almost sounded like it was listening. "I don't want to be part of this," Cade said, backing toward the door. "I'm not a fighter. I fix broken machines. I clean hulls. That's it." She stood and blocked the doorway before he could leave. "But you also saved its life. That counts for something." "I saved myself," Cade snapped. "That thing could have killed me." "Yes," she said, "but it didn't." Cade didn't know what to say. He looked at Threx. The creature stared back calm again, but its 6 eyes burned with something more now. Recognition. Just then, the station's lights flickered. A low hum buzzed through the walls. Cade and the woman both turned toward the control panel. "Proximity alert," he said, running to the screen. "Inbound ship, no ID, no signal beacon." She was beside him in seconds. "They've found us." Outside, the stars shimmered cold and still. Then a shadow moved across the viewport, a black drone, its body sleek and weaponized, floating silently just above the station's roof. "We have to go," she said. "There's nowhere to go," Cade replied. "The only ship here is cargo class. It won't outrun anything with plasma thrusters." She looked at him, then at the cleaning bay. "Then we make a stand." "With what?" Cade asked, half laughing. "Soap and wrenches?" "No," she said quietly. "With Threx." Cade blinked. "You're serious?" She turned toward the beast and slowly knelt in front of it. "I know you remember pain," she whispered to the creature. "But do you also remember purpose?" Threx didn't move for a long moment. Then, with a low grunt, it rose to full height, taller than any human. Its eyes narrowed, claws flexing. Cade stared in shock. "It understands you?" "Not words," she said, "but meaning, emotion, loyalty." The floor shook slightly. Another drone landed, then another dot and another. Cade grabbed the nearest welding torch. "If this thing turns on me again, I swear." "It won't," she said. "You're not the enemy anymore." Outside, red lights began to blink along the outer wall. Inside, Threx growled low, and the war they thought was over was about to begin again. The first blast hit the outer wall with a dull boom, shaking dust from the rafters. Cade stumbled but kept his grip on the welding torch. The woman didn't flinch. Neither did Threx. The alien beast stood still, eyes glowing, muscles tensed. It wasn't just ready, it was waiting. A second blast rang out louder. The station's outer lights blinked twice, then died. Only red emergency lights glowed now, painting the room in blood-colored shadows. "They're trying to break the hull," Cade said, checking the screen. "Once it's open, we won't have a vacuum shield. We'll be dead in seconds." The woman calmly pulled a small pulse blaster from her coat. "Then we don't let them in." He glanced at the weapon. "That'll barely slow them down." "I don't need to stop them," she said. "I just need a few seconds." "To do what?" She turned toward Threx. "To let him out." No way," Cade said. "You can't just open the doors." "That thing will rip everything apart, including us." "He won't," she said. "Not if you stay calm." Another tremor. This time the sound of cracking metal followed it. A corner of the outer wall buckled. Cade swore under his breath. "Okay, fine, but I want to know, what are these drones? Who do they work for?" She looked at him with tired eyes. "What's left of the Ziari warlords? Not real people, just code and command protocols. They want Threx because he's the last of the Guardian line, and they want what's in this cube." She held up the glowing data core again. "What's on it?" Cade asked. "Everything," she whispered. "DNA of old weapons, ship blueprints, biological research, and something worse, protocols to restart the war." He stepped back, realizing just how deep he was in. "I just washed ships," he said again. "And now you're helping stop a second extinction." She replied softly. Then the wall exploded. Metal shards flew through the air. Cade ducked. The woman rolled behind a barrel. Through the smoke, shadows appeared. 3 drones. Each floated just above the ground, silent, cold, and deadly. Their arms unfolded into plasma cannons. Their glowing red optics locked onto movement. Cade froze. One drone turned toward him. He couldn't breathe. Then a blur of color shot past his head. Threx. The alien beast launched forward with terrifying speed, roaring louder than any engine Cade had ever heard. It struck the first drone mid-air, claws slicing through metal like it was paper. Sparks flew. The drone dropped in 2 broken pieces. The second drone opened fire. Threx twisted, leaping from wall to wall faster than the plasma bolts could track. It slammed down from above, crushing the drone with a scream that made the air vibrate. Cade watched, stunned. It wasn't just a monster. It was a weapon. Alive, trained, angry. The third drone hovered back, adapting. It fired straight at Threx's chest. The plasma bolt hit. The beast roared, stumbling but didn't fall. Its fur smoldered, but its eyes glowed brighter. It didn't run. It charged. The drone tried to retreat, but it was too late. Threx grabbed it midair and slammed it against the wall until it sparked and fell still. Smoke filled the room. Pieces of drone armor lay scattered across the floor. The red emergency lights reflected off Threx's soaked fur and the woman's silent expression. Cade slowly stood. "I can't believe it. He remembers how to fight," she said softly. Cade looked at Threx. Its breathing was heavy now. "Wounded but standing. Is it hurt?" he asked. "Not enough to stop," she said. But this was only the first wave. More will come. Stronger, smarter. Cade sat on a crate, wiping sweat from his face. "Then we can't stay here." "I know." He looked up. "So where do we go?" She turned her head toward the back wall. "You said there was an old cargo ship." "Yeah," Cade said. "But it's barely flight-worthy. It hasn't even run a full power-up in weeks." "Then you'd better start fixing it," she said. "Because if we don't leave in the next hour, there won't be a station left." Cade stood again, but this time without arguing. Something had changed in him. Maybe it was the way Threx had fought. Maybe it was the way she looked at him, not like a cleaner, but like someone who mattered. "I'll get it flying," he said. "But I'll need time." "You'll have it," she said. "Threx and I will hold the door." Cade nodded. Then he turned and ran for the ship bay. Behind him, Threx growled low, watching the shadows. Outside, more drones moved through space, silent as ghosts. And the countdown to war had begun again. The cargo bay smelled like rust, fuel, and old failure. Cade ran through the narrow passageways, past storage crates, shattered tools, and flickering lights. He reached the old freighter, the Sparrow Unit 9, and hit the manual override. The hatch creaked open, groaning like it didn't want to wake. "Up. Come on, old bird," he muttered. "Just one last flight." Inside the cockpit, everything was cold and quiet. Dust covered the panels. Power lights were dead. He flipped the ignition switch, then held his breath. Nothing. He slammed it again. Still nothing. "Don't do this to me," he whispered. Outside, muffled thuds echoed through the wall, sounds of plasma fire. The fight had restarted. He yanked opened the side panel and jammed his welding torch against the manual battery coils. Sparks flew. Then slowly the system came alive. A soft hum, a flicker, then full startup. "Yes!" Cade shouted. "We're still flying." He started diagnostics, skipped the safety checks, and rerouted all power to engines and shield core. He didn't care if it was sloppy, it just had to lift off. Meanwhile, in the shattered hallway beyond the control room, the alien woman crouched behind a broken cargo sled, firing her pulse blaster in short, fast bursts. 2 more drones floated near the ceiling, their red eyes glowing like lanterns in a storm. Threx was bleeding, now thin, dark fluid dripping from its shoulder and leg, but it didn't stop fighting. It moved like it had nothing to lose. The drones kept adapting, adjusting their aim, tracking its patterns. But every time one got close, Threx was already somewhere else, slashing, roaring, tearing. The woman ducked as a bolt flew over her head, melting the wall behind her. She reached for her last charge cell, but her fingers trembled. "I'm out," she whispered. Threx heard her. It turned, limping but fierce. "Don't," she told him. "Don't come back for me. Just protect the human. Get to the ship." But Threx didn't move away. It stepped between her and the drones, growling low, teeth bared, even in pain. It chose to shield her. Cade's voice came through the intercom. "Ship's live. shields holding, engines warm. But we don't have long if we don't lift in. 5 minutes were toast. She pressed her hand to her earpiece. We're pinned. Threx is buying us time. You need to get the boarding ramp down. I can't open it from here, Cade said. It's jammed halfway from the blast shock. Manual overrides outside on the bay floor. She looked up. Then I'll go. No, you'll be wide. Open. I don't care, she said. I won't leave him behind. She stood, heart pounding, and sprinted from cover. The drone saw her instantly and fired. A bolt clipped her arm, spinning her to the floor. Pain exploded down her side, but she rolled, crawled, and reached the override panel near the ramp. Blood ran down her sleeve. Her fingers fumbled the lever. Behind her, Threx howled. The drones turned toward the beast again, hesitating. That hesitation was their mistake. Threx charged with a roar that shook the walls. Claws out, slamming into the nearest drone with brutal force. It didn't care about the pain now. It didn't care about survival. It cared about her. The ramp dropped halfway. Cade screamed into the comm. It's enough. Get on now. The woman ran, clutching her side. Threx, come. But the beast didn't follow. It stood in front of the last drone, bleeding, panting, not moving. Threx, run. She screamed again. The drone lifted a charged cannon toward the creature's skull. Then, suddenly dash movement. From the shadowed ceiling, a broken pipe fell. Fast, silent. It landed on the drone's head, knocking it just enough off balance. Threx struck. One final savage leap. The drone's body cracked against the wall and fell in a shower of sparks. Threx collapsed beside it. The woman reached him, dropped to her knees, and touched his face gently. You stupid, beautiful creature, she whispered. Why? Won't you listen? His breathing was shallow now. His eyes flickered. Cade appeared at the top of the ramp. We have to go, now. She looked up. Help me lift him. Cade froze. He's twice my size, then try. She screamed. He ran down, grabbed under Threx's uninjured side, and together, dragging and lifting, they pulled him up the ramp. The doors slammed shut behind them. Cade ran back to the cockpit and hit launch. The freighter lifted off in a storm of fire and wind, breaking through the smoke and into the dark sky beyond. Inside, the woman knelt beside the beast. Threx was barely breathing. Cade looked back at them through the cracked glass. We made it, he said. But neither of them replied. And behind the ship, the cleaning station exploded, wiped clean from space. The freighter cruised through dark space, its engines running on shaky power and patched wires. It wasn't built for speed, but it was quiet now. No drones, no alarms, just silence. Cade sat in the pilot's seat, steering them slowly toward the outer belt. His hands trembled. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't brave. But somehow, he just escaped death with a bleeding alien and her dying beast in the cargo hold. Behind him, the woman sat beside Threx, her hand gently resting on the creature's shoulder. The ship's emergency medpack glowed softly beside them, but it wasn't enough. No human medicine could help something like Threx. His breathing was weak. The green-blue fur had turned dark with blood. He didn't growl anymore. He didn't even open his eyes. Cade walked back and stood in the doorway. He's not going to make it, is he? She didn't answer right away. Her fingers moved across Threx's skull slowly, tenderly, like she was saying goodbye with touch instead of words. There's a chance, she said softly. But we'll need something only one place has. Cade folded his arms. Let me guess. Somewhere dangerous. She gave a small, tired smile. Always is. Where? She looked up. The old Dominion research outpost, the one buried in the ice moon of Alaris 4. Cade stared at her. That place was sealed off after the ceasefire. People say it's cursed. Trap's still active. AI defense is still running. It also has a cryolab. That's where they first built Threx's kind. If there's any hope, it's there. Cade. Paste. Even if we get there, what if it doesn't work? What if this is just a death run? She looked back at the creature. Then he dies anyway. But if we don't try ... we'll never know. Cade sat down on a crate. You still haven't told me your name, she blinked. As if it hadn't occurred to her. Velra, she said finally. Former Dominion scientist. Now, nothing. He raised an eyebrow. A scientist? I designed weapons, she said. Quietly. Not to kill, but to protect. Threx was supposed to be a guardian, not a killer. But war doesn't care about purpose. Cade looked at her differently now. You're not just hiding him. You're trying to fix what you started, Velra nodded slowly. He was the first one I bonded with. He saved my life once. Now I'm trying to return the favor. Cade looked down at Threx. Even in this weak state, the creature had a kind of dignity. It didn't cry. It didn't make noise. It just breathed. Barely. Then Cade saw something moving under Threx's fur near the wound. Small, pulsing lights. What's that? He asked, pointing. Velra leaned in, her face suddenly alert. No, she pulled a scanner from her belt and waved it near the wound. A red warning flashed across the screen. It's a tracker, she whispered. Cade froze. What? I thought we shook the drones. We did, but this isn't a signal drone, Velra said. It's biological, internal, hidden under the scar. They planted it during the last battle. Can they trace it? Velra stood up, eyes wide. Yes, if we don't cut it out in time, they'll find us again. Cade ran to the panel. How much time? An hour, maybe less. He looked at her, panic rising. And you're telling me this now? I didn't know, she said. I thought the scar was just a wound. I was wrong. Cade took a deep breath. Do we have tools to remove it? Only basic surgical gear, she said. But I'll need your help. Me? I'm not a doctor. You're steady. And you've touched him before. He didn't kill you. That's not exactly comforting. We don't have a choice, Cade. He stared at her, then nodded. Vlara set up the tools. Cade held the torchlight steady while she worked. Threx didn't move, even as she sliced into the flesh near the wound. Cade swallowed hard. The smell was sharp burnt tissue and hot metal. Inside, nestled near the bone, was a small blinking node. There, she said. Hold him. Cade placed his hand on Threx's chest. He felt the heartbeat faint, like a whisper. And then he felt something else. A pulse. A vision. It flashed in his mind. Fire, pain, fear. Threx's memory. The last war. Screams. Bombs. And the moment he was left behind, Cade stumbled back. Gasping. Velra pulled the tracker free and crushed it under her boot. The signal stopped. The silence returned. Cade leaned against the wall. I saw it, his pain, like it was mine. Velra looked at him, shocked. You? Connected? He nodded slowly. Just for a second, I felt everything. Velra stepped closer. Then he chose you. What do you mean? He doesn't show his memories to strangers, only to those he trusts. And if he showed you... Cade stared at Threx again. Something between them had changed, and outside, in the cold blackness of space, more shadows moved far away. But closing in, the ice moon of Alaris IV came into view like a pale ghost floating in the dark. Its frozen surface was cracked like shattered glass, and thick storms swirled over it. Cade had never seen a place so quiet and dangerous at the same time. Velra stood behind him in the cockpit, her face tight. The outpost is under the southern ice ridge. We'll have to land near the cliffs. There's no docking port, just a sealed access hatch buried in snow. Cade stared at the readings. Temperatures dropping fast. If the engine coolant lines freeze, we're stuck. Then we move quickly, she said. In the cargo bay, Threx lay wrapped in blankets and sealed in a med-field bubble. He wasn't moving much, but his eyes flickered open now and then. His body was weak, but something inside him was still fighting. Cade landed the ship gently on the ice shelf, wind howling outside. The ramp lowered with a hiss of steam, and cold air rushed in like claws. Cade pulled his jacket tight and stepped into the storm. They moved fast. Velra guided them to a hidden access panel buried under a thick snowdrift. She activated it with her old Dominion key chip. The door opened with a deep groan, revealing a tunnel full of frost and silence. Inside, it was darker than Cade expected. The hallway lights flickered, half dead. The walls were covered in ice. Long-forgotten machines lined the sides, broken and rusted. "This place hasn't been touched in years," he whispered. Velra led them deeper into the cold maze. Most people were afraid to come back. They thought the AI systems were still alive, still protecting whatever the Dominion left behind. Are they? We're about to find out. Cade carried Threx in a hover stretcher, his body barely responding. They passed locked doors, shattered glass, and frozen skeletons. The war hadn't ended here, it had simply stopped mid-battle. Finally, they reached the cryo-lab. Velra touched a hand scanner. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a white room, untouched by time, clean, cold, still glowing with Dominion blue lights. "This is it," she said. She rushed to the central pod and began typing on the console. Screens lit up with alien code. Cade set Threx down gently. On the nearby table. Suddenly, alarms flashed across the cryo screen. Cade stepped back. "What is it?" Velra's voice went tight. "Security protocol just woke up. Something's watching." Before she could finish, a deep mechanical voice echoed through the room. "Unauthorized user detected. Level 1 threat. Activating defense measures." The door behind them slammed shut. Lasers hummed. Walls shifted. From the floor, 2 tall sentinel bots rose tall, sleek, and armed with arm-mounted plasma spears. Velra turned. "I can't shut them down in time. We need a distraction." Cade looked at Threx. The beast opened his eyes barely. "I'll do it," Cade said. He stepped between the bots and Threx, torch in hand. The bots turned toward him. Velra shouted, "Cade, no!" He didn't listen. He shouted, "Hey, come on! Metalheads, come get me!" One bot fired. Cade dove behind a cryotube, sparks flying. The second moved forward, but just then, a roar split the room. Threx. The beast stood, legs shaking, eyes blazing. He was injured, bleeding but awake. The bots turned. Threx leapt. His claws struck metal. Sparks exploded. One bot stumbled. Then, second aimed, but Cade threw his torch at its face, just enough to throw it off. Velra rushed to the console and slammed her fist on a red override. Disengage protocol. Authorize identity. Dr. Velra Heron. A pause, then the voice returned. Identity confirmed. Canceling threat response. The bots froze. Then slowly they powered down, returning to the floor. Silence returned. Cade sat on the ground, panting. "I really hate robots." Velra moved to Threx. He collapsed again, weak but alive. "I've unlocked the genetic chamber," she said. "This is where his DNA was first made. I can rebuild the tissue. I can help him heal, but it will take time. And it will hurt him." Cade looked at her. "Will he survive?" Velra looked at Threx, at the creature that had once been her greatest creation, and now her last hope. "He might," she whispered. "But if he does, he won't be the same." Cade touched Threx's fur gently. "That's okay. None of. USR, above them, deep in orbit. Another drone ship arrived. The last hunter. It had waited for the tracker's signal. Now it had found them. The wind outside the ice lab howled louder, as if the moon itself knew what was coming. Inside, Velra worked quickly, hands moving over the Dominion controls as the regeneration pod closed around Threx's body. The machine hummed to life, filling with thick blue mist and blinking lights. "He's in," she said. "If it works, the cryo chamber will rebuild his wounded cells and neutralize the trauma pathways. But it will take at least 15 minutes. Cade stood near the sealed door, gripping a repurposed plasma cutter. "We don't have 15 minutes. Velra looked at the monitor. A red signal pulsed across the screen in active trace. Something was close, very close. "It's the final hunter," she whispered. "The old kind. Pure code. No metal. No body." Cade frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means it doesn't." "Shoot, it infects." Suddenly the lights above flickered. The walls trembled softly. Cade turned toward her. "What's it doing?" Velra's face turned pale. "It's trying to get inside the AI core. It wants to overwrite Threx's brain." Cade looked back at the cryo chamber. Threx floated inside, unconscious, helpless. "He survived all that," Cade said. "He fought. He bled. He protected you. Protected me. He's not just some tool." "I know," she said. "That's why it wants him. If it controls Threx." The war starts again. The room dimmed. Then screens all over the walls lit up, each showing lines of spinning alien code. The A core had been touched. A voice echoed, sharp and cold. "Threx. Guardian unit. Override command. Open mind to the Dominion." Inside the chamber, Threx twitched. Cade rushed to the panel. "What's happening?" Velra typed fast. "It's speaking inside his head, trying to wake up the old programming. Trying to replace his memories. It wants to make him a killer again." Cade slammed his fist on the side of the chamber. "No. You fight that, Threx. You remember who you are." The lights flickered again. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Threx thrashed inside the chamber. His heart monitor went wild. The AI voice grew louder. "Obey. Return to protocol. Reset emotional core." Cade closed his eyes, then stepped forward. He placed both hands on the cryoglass and whispered, "Threx, listen to me." Inside, the beast's body jerked. "You're not just some weapon." Cade said, "You're more. You saved her. You saved me. You chose your own path. That thing in your head, it's not you." The room shook. The screens turned red. Velra shouted, "Cade, get away. The system's overloading." But he didn't. "Move. I saw what they did to you," Cade whispered. "I felt it. That pain wasn't your fault. But what you do next, that is." Inside the chamber, Threx's eyes opened. Fully. Glowing. But not red. Blue. The AI voice screamed through the speakers. "Obey. Obey." Then silence. Every screen went black. Every light shut off. Cade stepped back as the cryo chamber hissed and slowly opened. Smoke poured out, and Threx stepped forward. Stronger. Whole. Changed. He stood taller, more stable. His scars were still there, but they no longer looked like wounds. They looked like stories. Velra stared, frozen. "Threx?" The beast looked at her. Then at Cade. Then he roared, not a sound of rage or fear, but a deep, thunderous roar that shook the ice. The AI core melted in a burst of static. The last hunter was gone. Cade let out a breath. He didn't know he was holding. "You did it." Threx moved forward slowly, stopping in front of him. Then he did something strange. He lowered his head and gently touched Cade's shoulder with his own. Velra's eyes softened. "He honors you." Cade chuckled weakly. "Great. I'm officially friends with the beast that nearly killed me during a bath." They laughed, tired, relieved, Alive. Hours later, the freighter lifted from the ice moon, leaving the buried outpost behind. The war that almost returned was finally erased. In the cockpit, Cade flew the ship while Velra rested beside Threx in the back, her hand lightly touching his side. Cade looked at the stars ahead. Where now? He asked over the com. Vlra replied softly, wherever they can't find us, where we can start again. Cade smiled. Good, just one condition. What? No more pets. A pause, then her voice came through smiling. No promises. And somewhere in the dark, a once deadly beast breathed freely, not as a weapon, but as something new, something human had helped him become.